Alright, hello, it's Francisco again, bringing another one. I don't know why my camera only records 21 minutes. We gonna get it. So, now we're gonna go back to the Dr. Sebi, Eat to Live. I mean, I gotta give it up to that man. He changed my life. He's just a great man. We don't understand. We always, as a people, fight each other. And we don't bring each other up. We gotta start carrying each other. We gotta start carrying each other and stop protecting everybody else against us. When we the ones who need the protection. We the ones who need the guidance. We have a chance to become better, greater, more sufficient. We have to do it together.
The coconut revolution.
Shit. The coconut revolution. Sorry, guys.
Because I remain that obedient boy that just lost his mama 4 days ago. I listen. Well, why should we expect the school to teach us something that would enhance our growth and save our lives? Why should the school teach you that? When in history has there ever been examples to show that one race of people is indebted to another? That has never been. Then you tell me that the white man is a bigot. The white man was never a bigot. He was never a discriminator. The white man is a person that obeys the first law of nature. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. So the white man, whenever he proceeds to preserve his race, and we sit back and say he's a bigot, it's only because we have lost it and we don't even know how to get ourselves out of this mess. I'm one of them. I'm you standing here. But one day, it was to be that your brother would be shown something that would change the profile of things. I left my country where I was born then. In 1953 to New Orleans, I became a merchant seaman. I was 20 years of age. As a merchant seaman, I became an engineer 5 years later. I'm a steam engineer. Don't ask me how I did that, because that's going to baffle you, because I've never been to school, and I don't read books. I don't read books now, nobody's book. I'm not even going to read my own. Because all the book readers come to me, asking me, how did you cure AIDS? But that's like asking the gorilla, hey man, how come you keep yourself healthy without a hospital? How come you don't have any medicines? We begin. I became a merchant seaman right quick to take you through my life. Left Honduras without going to school, became a merchant seaman, became an engineer, worked for the County of Los Angeles. And I'm looking around. The Mexican said, the goat bothering you? I said, no. You're dying because you are disobedient. Then he brought the Holy Bible. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land. That's in the Bible, isn't it? But how could we honor our mother and our father when we don't even know what they were about? You don't tell that to an elephant to honor his mother, because when he's born, he follows his mother and watch what his mother eats. Do you and I know what our mothers ate in Africa? We don't know, yet we dialogue. We dialogue on this level of intelligence because I know Plato, I know Aristotle, I know all about Diogenes, but you don't know what your mama ate. So everything that you talk about,
you don't know what your mama ate.
So you see, you see where they have us in a deficit? That's why we need each other. Now when I became an engineer,
mama eat, boy.
the Mexican said, stop eating. Don't eat anything for how long? 3 months. I said, are you crazy? He said, no, you nuts. You ask me if I'm crazy. You've been eating garbage for 30 years, you've been eating garbage. And I'm going to remove the garbage for 90 days and you ask me if I'm crazy. What was I eating? Hog maws, chitlin, neck bones, crackling bread, Lord in New Orleans. Eggs, because the grown-ups told me when my penis wasn't getting hard, eat eggs, drink raw eggs. And I did, by the dozens. And nothing happened. The Mexican said, don't worry about it, don't eat. 90 days later, I was no longer impotent, no longer diabetic, no longer asthmatic, no longer with glasses on my eyes, and this stomach hair was 42. What happened to the science that the physicians were using, medical science? It didn't work, isn't it? But it worked with me. The herbs work with me. This Bible says,
healing of the nation. You, Israel.
in the book of Revelation,
You had the
it
guidance.
says,
You had.
22 verse, and the first chapter,
He
it
gave
talks
you all
about
the
the
answers.
herbs
You had the answer sheet.
for medicine.
You think it's their answer sheet?
Am I right?
It's our answer sheet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what could have happened to us that when my brother, who was a preacher for 30 years, was sick, and instead of going to God's medicine, he went to the physician to get a chemical in his arm. My brother died 21 years ago. I'm not a preacher. I would never be a preacher. I told that to my mother. She wanted me to be the preacher. I said, no, 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 no. That would be the last thing that I would consider. She said, why? I said, because I want to live truth. Even if it kills me, I'm going to live truth. And truth is, the Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nations.
Healing of the nation.
But the preacher, when he gets sick, he will get a chemical.
You had a cheat
It's the
sheet.
message he's sending to God. Come on, let's be truthful. Let us be truthful today. If never
Can I
again in
get a
our
hand,
life,
hand?
let us be that today.
You had a cheat sheet.
Why do we go to see the doctor to give us a chemical when the Bible says the herbs are for the healing?
Hell.
Why do we go? Well, you're going to soon find out. That's what affected me then, and probably
Manipulation.
affecting me now. To a great degree. More than I would ever realize. Because remember, I want to go to the blackboard.
Oh, you disobedient, Israel.
Roughly speaking, Africa, we weren't. We were seeing. Why? Because God provided us with everything we needed here. And none of it was comfrey or rice and beans. There were no tofu. There were no soy there. There were no cows. And there were no hogs, no chicken. There were no flour. Those things didn't come from Africa. You see rice and beans and flour and cheese and meat and the starch that you eat, they all came from right here, from a laboratory. Now, for us to eat, you have to have in your big skull the understanding of biochemistry. But when we were here, we didn't have to know anything about biochemistry. Why? Because God doesn't make poisons. you see, God doesn't make carrots. Well, let me put it here. Stop the garbage. Anytime someone tells you that tofu is good for you, that someone that just gave that is
Tofu is basically plastic. It's not good for you. A lot of things they say is good for you, it's not good for you. Spirulina is not good for you. You need seaweed, not that fake shit. You gotta stay away from fake stuff because it may be beneficial to some other people, but for you, melanated person, it's not. You need to start waking up. Just like I always teach people, you don't use sunblock because the sunblock is what gives you the cancer. I say if you must use sunblock, use the natural cucumber spread that they make from cucumber puree. But don't use it because your body can't adjust to it. There's a light index on the different types of people and how much light you need per day, and you adjust over time to be able to handle it. That's why when people don't get no sun, they go to the beach, they get burnt. Because you can't go to 0 to 60 like that. You know what I mean?
information to you has one eye open, but he's confident that when he tells you to eat carrots and you drink it, you have both closed. So a one-eyed man is king where everybody's blind, but the one that recommends the tofu is only half seeing. He's blind. He got one eye open only, but he doesn't know it. Example. Before we get into the real lecture, hear this out.
Get it, doctor. Shit.
This is how people take privileges on us.
Because they don't believe you
They
until
don't
you
care
got the
about us.
paperwork.
They bring us information that, oh God,
They don't really care
that's
about
why the rest
us.
of the world laughs at us. Because they know that we have both eyes closed. Here it is. Moringa. Moringa has 23 times the iron in spinach. Spinach has iron? No, because spinach...
Starch.
Let me take my time because there's a whole lot of information. I don't want to jog it up.
All genetically
Anything
mutated
that
is
has a pH
starch.
of 7 plus.
Anything that has been that is alkaline and you genetically mutated, you have erased that, and you've now created something that is acid based. And when it is acid based, it is starch based. So you could be eating the best of the genetically mutated food, but you're still eating starch. You're still eating acid, and you're still feeding your body crap.
It's alkaline. Anything that has less 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is acid. Spinach. Acid. Why compare moringa with spinach? When spinach has a starch base, it has no iron. 7 times the calcium in milk. Milk has calcium. Well, I stopped drinking milk 42 years ago, and I could fall on my knees. You drink milk with moringa because I said the mixer was making some pages hair. You're not going to fall on your knees at 73. You're going to leave your knees down there. 11 times vitamin A that you find in carrots. Carrots has vitamin A. Carrots belongs on the acid side of life.
Excuse me.
So right there, and they say to mix with carrot juice. Why would they do that? Then up here, they talk about the Ayurvedic system of medicine. Recommends moringa. The Ayurvedic is Indian. The Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends cow milk. The Ayurvedic system of medicine has never cured any disease, nor moringa, nor any other system in the world. You know what this is like? When Steven Seagal tells me to come to his house because he had a headache for 5 years. Well, I knew why the headache was in his head. It was removed in less than 10 minutes. He had the bottle and said, "This bottle is powerful." I said, "Yeah, powerful, huh?" He said, "Yeah, the headache is gone." You know, he's a Dalai Lama, right? He wanted me to go to Kathmandu. Kathmandu? I'm going to go to Kathmandu. To do what? Talk to Lamas. Lamas for what? What am I going to talk to Lamas for? They could cure your headache that you had for 5 years. The Lamas need to come and see me, not me, the Lama. But since we were compromised, we left all our food in Africa. You and I don't even know what we ate in Africa. So don't even go there. But we have the opportunity because one of your brothers happened not to go to school and look outside of the paradigm of school and found something altogether different. And what did I find? That anything that God made is on the alkali side. Why? The molecular structure is complete. It was made by nature, not man.
You're
Anything that God made has no starch.
You're trying to tell you, man.
That's another thing.
Your machine.
Anything that nature
electric.
made has no starch. Anything that man made
Created
has
by
to
the
have
creator.
starch because starch is a binder. To titrate two unequal chemicals, you have to use a.
You're an electric being made by the creator, perfect. And starch isn't even a food. They giving you binders, just like your pills. 60% binders. These binders give you cancer. Get with it.
Starch. Starch is not a food. Starch is a chemical.
Not a food. It's a chemical.
And what have we been eating since they took us away from Africa? Starch and blood.
Starch and blood, baby.
Starch and blood. We didn't need blood in Africa. Gorilla doesn't need blood. He leaves and berries. But gorillas are sane. They listen to each other and they have a society well put together. Well, Sebi, when he became the engineer, and he found out that the pH value of things had a lot to do with healing and the properties that's to be used, I was happy. I used to run home. Guess what I found? I found that the herb that everybody's talking about is acid, and everybody's using it. What herb is that? Comfrey. She said, what? I said, yes, it's on the acid side. And so is rose hips, enchilacia. What about golden seal? That's right, golden seal was made. It's like the stick that you put in your mouth. They call what? What they call it? The chew stick. What they call it? Liquid stick. Everybody have liquid stick in the mouth, right? But liquid stick was made. It has 50 times more sugar than does sugar itself. It has glycerinic acid. You see,
You're eating
we didn't
acid
have to study
and everything you
in
eat.
Africa because everything we
don't
had there
understand it.
was on the alkali side, so we could eat anything. But when they brought us here, you know, put some clothes on now. And after they put the clothes on you, come here, boy. You got to get in front of this classroom. You have to learn this ABC stuff. But hold it now. Gorilla doesn't take the cubs to be trained by polar bears. Gorillas train our own cubs. The gorilla way. But no. You and I, our parents couldn't do better. They had to take us to the school because they wanted to save us, you know, protect us, because that's mother. Mother doesn't want child to suffer. So mother was shown that if child didn't go to school, and they'd be illiterate, and the society is made up where you must go to school if you want to buy a Mercedes. But in our society, school, what you mean by school?
Alright, so the things about to stop. So you got a lot of deep stuff, and I mean, it's plain and simple. What they give us is chemical based, it's starch, and it's not good for you. Yet that's what we eat, that's what we do, and we think a lot of it is good for us, like tofu, and trying to express that a lot of these things aren't good, like milk. Isn't good for you. They put dyes in it because when the machines are compressing it breaks open the barrier around the milk sac, and when it does, it bleeds into the milk. So when they process it, it's all red. So they have to use white dyes to make it white again. So you're eating blood. You're drinking blood when you drink milk, which the Creator says do not drink blood. So understand, defy the Creator in every action you take. This is simple stuff, but you already messed your whole life up. This is just the basics. There's so much to this. You have to understand how important this is. So I don't know, it's still recording. I guess I fixed it, so we'll see. Keep going. We're coming up on the next one. Alright, let's get it.
A blind man was killed named Mr. Fredericks. Then the Japanese Fred Takashita's wife was killed of endometriosis. She had a baby. She was never supposed to have a baby. It's a white lady from Utah. My boss brought his daughter and his brother with ulcers. They were killed. The boss came to me one afternoon and said, "So you're going to leave me?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're going to leave me? On your resume, you said that you didn't go to school. And the only reason why I hired you is that I was curious to find out how could a man have an engineer license, never been to school. I wanted you to fail. But instead, you did something that is extraordinary. Are all black people like you?" I say, "Brett Howell," his name is Brett Howell. "Are all black people like me?"
Damn straight. You just gotta
I
wake
say, "I'm the
up.
dumbest." "Yes, they're all like me and more powerful than me." "But how come they're not doing what you're doing? You killed the blind man. You killed my daughter ulcers. Could they do that?" I said, "They could do it better than you, than me. But why are they doing it? Because they're afraid of you." I'm not afraid of God. I'm not afraid of the devil. I'm not afraid of anything, especially you. Because I don't live in fear. I say, "Brett Howell, the black man of America is afraid of you white people because you guys made him afraid of you. And you should not feel good about that. It's not about me hating white people, loving black or hating black. It's about understanding. Nobody's going to help us but us. Nobody in this world, whether white, black, Chinese, or Arab, could help us. It's impossible for them to help us. Why? Because they don't know us. You know about genetic predisposition? Look, as a Christian, I used to eat pork. Of course I eat pork, and I love it. But as a Muslim, I eat lamb, which is 10 times worse than pork. So what do I do? Who do I turn to? So, after I quit my job, the boss said, wait just a minute, because I think you're crazy. You're leaving your job as a steam engineer in 1980, when herbs in 1980, I'm making $2,900 a month. I'm going to leave my job with 10 years seniority to come after some herb that you didn't like. Why did I do this? I had to do it. It wasn't that I could see that far. I can't see beyond my nose. Talk about years ahead. But I had to quit my job. And I had to question myself, why am I doing this? But I did. In 1980, the boss is looking at TV, 1987. On the 10th day of February, he see CNN. Alfredo Bowman, a.k.a. Dr. Sebi, is arrested for practicing medicine without a license.
The good Dr. Sebi.
Selling product approved by the FDA and claiming to cure AIDS and other diseases, which is a fraudulent claim. The boss saw that. The boss' wife is in the bathroom because he told me the story himself. He called her out, come and see the man that's arrested. If he says he cure AIDS, I know he cure AIDS, because Bret Howard knew that I would never compromise myself to a lie. When I talk, I know what I said is not true, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. That I would never compromise myself to a lie. When I talk, I know what I said is not true, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. I said is not true, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. I said is not true, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. I went to work, and I passed by Miss Louise Wright's house on my right, and I made a statement, I'm going to help humanity. And here it is. 1987 is the showdown. I was arrested. All of the people in New York that were hearers, I don't need to call it the name. They say, yeah, they got the big mouth. They were angry with me because I put an ad in the Village Voice and the Amsterdam News and the New York Post. AIDS has been cured by the USHA Research Institute. And we specialize in cures for leukemia, sickle cell, impotent, blindness, cancer, and others. Well, after all, I did it. Shouldn't I advertise it? You should be glad your brother's doing that, because now you have a chance to share in the bounty, right? That's the way I felt. So, I'm in jail and I'm wondering, how is the American Medical Association going to escape from this one? You see, in the past, herbalists, when they talk, shh, gotta be quiet. Gotta talk under the table, because the physician may get you. The FDA gonna get you. But we seem to forget the one basic thing. When they remove us from Africa, did they bring our food with us? Did they? Well, how could the FDA have such kind of power over us now? Come on now, just wake up to it. So I stood in jail thinking, how am I going to do this one? This is going to be a heavy number, but it's nice because I wanted this moment. I'm representing some black woman. I never had a father. I never had a man in my confines to tell me something. No, I never had a stepdaddy. I had a woman. And then another woman, my grandmother. My great-great-grandmother lived to 124. Her name was Elizabeth. And she lived 70 years without a man. My great-grandmother lived 112. She lived 68 years without a man. My grandmother died at 100. And she lived 50 years without a man. My mother died 5 days ago. And she racked up 40. My mother died when I was coming to see you. I didn't turn back. You know why? The relationship with me and my mother was one of love. And she would have never want me to be there. My brother told my mother when I was about 10 years ago, he told her, yeah,